Please, like and subscribe. All proceeds support animals in need. Thank you for watching. The most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. Inflation is as violent as a mugger, as frightening as an armed robber, and as deadly as a hitman. Peace is not absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. We must reject the idea that every time a law's broken, society is guilty, rather than the lawbreaker. When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. It has been said that politics is the second oldest profession. I have learned that it bears a striking resemblance to the first. A government program is the nearest thing to eternal life we'll ever see on this earth. We should measure welfare's success by how many people leave welfare, not by how many are added. No mother would ever willingly sacrifice her sons for territorial gain, for economic advantage, for ideology. The trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. A people, free to choose, will always choose peace. Trust, but verify. A communist is someone who reads Marx and Lenin. An anti-communist is someone who understands Marx and Lenin. Government's view of the economy is, if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. And, if it stops moving, subsidize it. My fellow Americans, I just signed legislation which outlaws Russia forever. The bombing begins in 5 minutes. Within the covers of the Bible are the answers for all the problems men face. There are no easy answers, but there are simple answers. We must have the courage to do what we know is morally right. You can tell a lot about a fellow's character by his way of eating jelly beans. Today, we did what we had to do. They counted on America to be passive. They counted wrong. Man is not free unless government is limited. History teaches that war begins when governments believe the price of aggression is cheap. Some people wonder all their lives if they've made a difference. The Marines don't have that problem. Democracy is worth dying for, because it's the most deeply honorable form of government ever devised by man. Republicans believe every day is the 4th of July, but the Democrats believe every day is April 15th. Don't be afraid to see what you see. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. How can a president not be an actor? The problem is not that people are taxed too little, The problem is that government spends too much. Facts are stubborn things. Government is like a baby. An alimentary canal, with a big appetite at one end, and no sense of responsibility at the other. Government does not solve problems, it subsidizes them. If we love our country, we should also love our countrymen. Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. I am not worried about the deficit. It is big enough to take care of itself. Government exists to protect us from each other. Government has gone beyond its limits in deciding to protect us from ourselves. People do not make wars, governments do. Recession is when a neighbor loses his job. Depression is when you lose yours. Concentrated power has always been the enemy of liberty. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Heroes may not be braver than anyone else. They're just braver 5 minutes longer. They say the world has become too complex for simple answers. They are wrong. One way to make sure crime doesn't pay would be to let the government run it. Entrepreneurs and their small enterprises are responsible for almost all the economic growth in the United States. Governments tend not to solve problems, only to rearrange them. We cannot play innocents abroad in a world that is not innocent. Welfare's purpose should be to eliminate, as far as possible, the need for its own existence. Government always finds a need for whatever money it gets. We have the duty to protect the life of an unborn child. Optimism comes less easily today because democracy's enemies have refined their instruments of repression.